Hello friends, welcome to iExamB. This is Vidhika. In this video, we are going to have a detailed analysis of previous year Phase 2 law paper. We will try to understand how many questions were there from each of the subject. Were these questions as per the weightage? So by this analysis, we will try to understand how the question paper was set in the previous year in Phase 2. First of all, let me tell you some of the doubts which are common in the minds of aspirants who are preparing for Phase 2. The first one is the mentioned syllabus enough? Do we have to study some extra acts? Do we have to study anything other than what is mentioned in the syllabus? The next question is, should we read SEBI regulations? This is one of the most common question, that do we have to go through all the SEBI regulations? And if yes, then which of the SEBI regulations are important and should be read? The next common question is, how many questions were there from Phase 2 extra topics? So are the Phase 2 topics given more weightage, given more preference as compared to Phase 1 topics? The next common question is, will it be possible to cover this entire syllabus in the remaining 25 days? And another one is, how or where to practice these questions, how to revise, where to keep the focus while revision. So these are the questions that I will try to answer in this video. Starting with our Phase 2, in the exam there are two papers. The paper 1 is descriptive English to test your drafting skills, and paper 2 is legal, in which there will be MCQs. In paper 1 there will be 3 questions of 100 marks. One will be essay, précis and comprehension, and in paper 2 there will be 50 questions of 100 marks. In my previous video I have already discussed in detail the cutoff of the previous year. We have tried to analyze what should be the safe score in this exam so as to clear Phase 2. In this video we will try to understand what syllabus to cover in order to clear Phase 2. This is the syllabus that is mentioned for your paper 2, and similar to Phase 1, weightage has also been clearly given in the notification. Constitution of India holds a weightage of 10%. Similarly, law of contracts holds a weightage of 10%. Then criminal law, evidence and CPC holds together a weightage of 10%. So one by one we will try to understand how many questions were expected to come in this paper and how many actually came. The first one is Constitution of India. As per the syllabus, the weightage is 10%, that is 5 questions out of 50 questions. And in the previous year paper, there were 6 questions. In Phase 2, the area from which these questions came, one was related to the definition of law from Article 13, then another was related to the right to equality under Article 14, then another question was related to writs, which all writs are present under the Constitution. Then what were the words added by 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act to the preamble? There was another question relating to enforceability of Part 4, that is DPSP, and one more question was from Part 14A, Article 323A. This was the extra question from the Phase 2 topic. Then moving to the second part, that is law of contracts. As per the weightage given in the syllabus, from second part, that is law of contracts, there should be 5 questions. In actual, there were 8 questions in Phase 2 exam. These questions were from all the 3 acts. From Contract Act, there was 1 question from duty of bailee to return goods, which was section 160. Then there was obligation under the void agreement, that is section 65. One question was relating to illustration under section 65, that if a singer willfully absents himself on the 6th night after singing continuously for 5 nights, so what should be the compensation that should be given to the singer? This illustration is mentioned under section 65. Then there was one question from revocation of acceptance, that is section 5. And another question from pawnee's right where pawner makes default, which is section 176. What was the area, what was the segment of the question, how the question was framed, that you can see from the question paper that is attached in the description below. The memory based question paper is attached. You can check out all the questions from that document. So from Contract Act there were about 5 questions. From Partnership Act there were 2 questions. One was related to dissolution by notice of partnership at will from section 43, and another was from mode of doing act to bind the firm, that is section 22. And from Specific Relief Act there was 1 question relating to recovery of specific movable property, that is section 7. Moving on to the next part, that is criminal and procedural laws. From this section there should be 5 questions, and in actual exam, in phase 2 exam, there were 4 questions. One question was from Criminal Procedure Code section 251, which was related to framing of charges not being necessary in which of the cases, that is in summary trials cases. From IPC there was one question relating to imprisonment in default of payment of fine, that is section 64 and 65. From CPC there was one question relating to purchaser's title, section 65, and from evidence there was one question relating to judicial notice, section 57. Again I am mentioning, if you want to look at the kind of questions that were framed, the structure of the question, you can download the memory based paper from the description below. Moving to the next part, that is admin law, jurisprudence, principles of natural justice, interpretation of statutes, important Latin terms and maxims. As per the weightage, there must be 5 questions, but in actual exam, only 2 questions came in phase 2 exam. One was from the legal maxim amicus curiae, and this was the maxim which came in 2022 phase 1 paper 2 also. And another question was from interpretation, that is principle of legislative intent. Moving to next topic, that is tort, arbitration, transfer of property act and law of trust. From this, as per the syllabus, there must be 7 to 8 questions, and in the exam actually there were 7 questions, and questions were from all the areas. From torts and consumer protection there were 3 questions. One was an illustration related to the maxim volenti non fit injuria. From law of torts, another question was from restrictive trade practices. This was the topic that was also covered in this year's in 2022's phase 1 law paper. And another question was from endorsement in relation to advertisement, that is section 2 subsection 18. Then from arbitration and conciliation, there was one question relating to commencement of arbitration, that is section 43. From transfer of property act, there were 2 questions. One was relating to the rights of seller from section 55, and another was related to suit for foreclosure under section 67. From the law of trust, Indian Trust Act, there was one question relating to duty of trustee under section 15. Moving to next part, that is corporate law, which holds a weightage of 20%. That means as per the syllabus there must be 10 questions from this segment only. And in the exam there were 8 questions from corporate law. One was question relating to restriction on the powers of board, that is section 180. Then another question was relating to the definition of authorized capital, section 2 subsection 8. Another question was relating to assessment year of newly incorporated company, section 2 subsection 41. Then there was one question relating to the investment in startup companies by the wealthy investors. Such kind of investment, such kind of capital is called venture capital, paid up capital, etc., etc. So the answer was venture capital. There was another question relating to appointment of proxy from section 105. There was one question of related party transaction from section 188. Another question was related to quorum from section 103. And one more question was about one person company, how one person company can raise funds, and a one person company cannot raise funds by the issue of shares because it is kind of a private company. So these were the areas from which questions came in corporate law. The next one is taxation, and as per the syllabus there must be 2 to 3 questions, and in the actual exam there was only one question from this area, which was related to the definition of capital asset, that is section 2 subsection 14 of Income Tax Act. Now moving to the last part, that is your securities law, in which there are 3 acts, SEBI Act, SCRA and depositories, and as per the syllabus there should be 10 questions. In the actual exam there were about 12 questions in 2020 phase 2 exam, and these questions were asked from all the 3 acts. From SEBI Act there were 3 questions. One was relating to the appeal to Supreme Court from SAT should be in how many days, that is in 60 days. Another was relating to the qualification of presiding officer of SAT, section 15M. And one more question was relating to civil court not to have jurisdiction, which is mentioned in section 15Y. Then from Depository Act there were 4 questions. One was related to the services of depository, that is section 5, that how the services of depository can be availed through a depository participant. Then another question was relating to the cognizance of offence by the court given under section 22. One was related to the certificate of commencement of business, section 3. This was another area from which question came this year in phase 1 paper, and another question was relating to the registered owner. Who is the registered owner in the books of a issuer? That is the depository. From SCRA there were 5 questions. One was relating to the preamble of SCRA, another was conditions by the central government for grant of recognition to stock exchange, which is given under section 4. Then part 2, prohibit contract in certain areas, which is given under section 16. Contracts in derivatives given under section 18A, and application for recognition of stock exchange given under section 3. How these questions were framed, you can see from the PDF that is attached in the description below. Now till this point you can see there were all the questions from the syllabus itself, and we have almost discussed 48 questions. There were 2 questions which were from the topics not mentioned in the syllabus. One was related to the qualification of judicial member of the Central Administrative Tribunal, and another was related to the term fall of the hammer. This term fall of the hammer is associated with what? And there were various options. The correct one was auction sale, which is mentioned under section 64 of the Sales of Goods Act. Again, this question is kind of very general and could be known by common sense. So there was one question which could have been left unanswered if you have prepared entire syllabus. So here I will advise you, stick to the syllabus, concentrate on the syllabus, and just keep on revising the syllabus. Practice a lot of questions related to the syllabus itself. Let's revisit these doubts once again and see whether we have answered these questions or not. The first one, is mentioned syllabus enough? So I think you might also know by now that yes, the mentioned syllabus is enough. Stick to the syllabus. The questions usually come from the syllabus, and if at all there are any surprises, the area is so vast beyond that we really cannot waste time for 5 to 10% of the questions which may come as a surprise. The next one is, should we read SEBI regulations? So there was no question from SEBI regulations last year. You've also appeared for phase 1 and you might already know that there is no need to read SEBI regulations. There was no question last year, and also there was no question in phase 1 this year. The next one is, how many questions were there from phase 2 extra topics? So if you have seen the entire video, you will be able to understand that there were not many questions from phase 2 extra topics. There were about 4 to 5 questions from the extra topics that have been added in phase 2. But still, this cannot be said for sure since these topics are also again a part of the phase 2 syllabus. Will it be possible to cover the entire syllabus? Yes, you still have 25 days in your hand, and it is very much possible to cover the entire syllabus and revise it. Just stick to the syllabus. Only a few more topics are added in phase 2. You have already prepared the phase 1 topics and you just need to revise them again and again. Now, from where is it possible to practice those questions and to structure a revision? So if you can find a book of questions, you can go for it. At iExamB, we provide more than 3000 questions for your paper 2, for your law exam. In our phase 2 online course, there are course videos, study notes, then there are chapter tests, section tests, mock tests, CCQs. There are 15 practice tests and apart from that, there are live sessions where we discuss all your doubts, we clear all your concepts, and there in those live sessions, we also discuss a lot of MCQs in revision. So in total, you will get a comprehensive set of questions to prepare for this exam. If you are interested in our course, if you want any form of guidance, you can enroll in our SEBI Grade A Legal Phase 2 course. At present, we are giving a flat 50% off on our course. If you have any query, you can call us on the number mentioned on the screen, or you can write to us at hello@iexamb.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. And I am again reminding you that the memory based paper is attached in the description below. Thank you.